Hello everybody, hope you all are doing well. I'm Kajuju and this is a deck check. I'll be giving you straight up gameplay and impressions of how well each of the various games work on the Steam Deck, as well as how the controls feel, what settings I had to use to get the game to run smoothly, and whether I personally would prefer to play this game on my PC or on the Steam Deck. I won't be doing any sort of deep dive into the performance or hardware of the Steam Deck itself. I will leave the performance overlay on for FPS for you to observe as we go through this deck check. Timestamps are provided for you to get straight to the part that you are interested in, so be sure to check that out, especially if you just want to see gameplay with no commentary. So let's get started. The game we are checking out is Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. It released in March 2022. It is a full game spin-off of Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep, which was a Borderlands 2 DLC. You embark on an epic journey of whimsy, wonder, and high-powered weaponry. You can, for the first time, create your own character. This is essentially just Borderlands 3 with Dungeons and Dragons inspirations. At the time of this recording, the game is currently a timed Epic Games Store exclusive, so eventually it will come to Steam. If it was anything like Borderlands 3, it may take a while for it to go on Steam, so I am checking out the game through the Heroic Games launcher. There's currently no deck compatibility status for Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, so let's see how it runs. Normally I would include a quick guide on how to run the game, but Tiny Tina's Wonderlands had 3 issues that I just had to make its own video about. So there will be a link to the video in the description or a little tab thing that will show up to link you out. But stick around if you want to hear my thoughts on it running on the Steam Deck. So I am forced to play this game in desktop mode for the Steam Deck since I can't get the game to run in gaming mode. Since I am launching the game through the Heroic Games launcher, I cannot get the normal gamepad controls that I configured for Heroic Games launcher from gaming mode. So I had to modify the desktop configurations in the Steam settings to be able to get access to my gamepad control. I covered how to do this in my how to run videos, so I won't go into details about that. So once you get your controls set up, it works very well. I enabled gyro controls to assist with my controller aim, and it is surprisingly smooth, even after considering how much work I had to do to get the proper controls running. I didn't have any issues navigating the main menu or going through character creations. The devs for these games do a great job getting controller controls to feel natural, which shouldn't be too much of a surprise since they do focus on getting the game to run on consoles as well. The number one controller related problem that this game suffers for on the Steam Deck is trying to use the on-screen keyboard. Since we are in desktop mode, we don't get our usual on-screen keyboard. I've tried a third-party on-screen keyboard, which was Core Keyboard, but Core Keyboard and the Steam's on-screen keyboard both get hidden behind the game, which was pretty frustrating to deal with. I tried seeing if I could use a Discover application to have remote control of my keyboard on my phone, but the application just wouldn't launch. The best solution I could come up with was opening a browser or a notepad or just anything you can type in. And I would type what I want, copy it, and use Steam's on-screen desktop keyboard to paste it in the text box of Tiny Tina's Wonderland. Steam's on-screen desktop keyboard does get hidden behind the game, but it still comes up. So after copying your text, you could press Steam plus X to bring up the Steam's keyboard, hit up on the D-pad a few times, then hit left on the D-pad a few times, then press A to paste what you want in Tiny Tina Wonderland's text field. You would then press B to exit out of Steam's on-screen keyboard and you will have control of the game again. If you have copied something, the most top left option on the Steam keyboard is to paste it. Something to note is that once you paste it once, it will no longer be an option to paste again. So if you mess up, you will need to repeat the same steps. I know that is an annoying workaround, but so far the only time I needed to do that was at the character creation. Hopefully there isn't another text input later in the game. I've played about 5 hours of the game on my desktop PC and have not seen another one yet. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands runs rough on the Steam Deck. I will be showing you footage of each of the different graphic settings as well as my preferred graphic settings. I get stutters in the game whenever I am loading in a map, some big explosions happening, or just lots of effects are being thrown around the screen. Here is the badass graphic settings. Here's the ultra graphic settings.
Oh, it's a big fun. Nothing like a job well done.
Here's the high graphic settings.
Drop the ball. Adorable.
Here's the medium graphic settings. Here's the low graphic settings.
Next time, learn to pick an easier mark.
Here's the very low graphic settings. And here are my preferred graphic settings. It is just the very low graphic settings with high settings for environment and characters. Those settings run around 40 to 50 FPS side of a map, which feels nice for me. In overworld, I get a consistent 60 FPS. The real bummer about this game's performance is the random stutters that happen throughout the game. Could be because the game is not optimized for Linux, but if you had this on Steam, it most likely would be running a lot better. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands runs rough on the Steam Deck, and I would recommend you wait for the Steam release since it requires you to do so much extra work just to get the game running. Typing would not be an issue if I could get this game to work on gaming mode, but I am forced to play in desktop mode since the method I have works the most consistently. Controls feel smooth and the gyro controls still work even after all those workarounds. It is not easy to change up your controls since you need to have some buttons binded to Alt and Tab, which for me are the right back paddles. Now I lost 2 buttons just so I can tab out of the game so I can go into Steam desktop configuration to change up the controls a bit. 2 buttons doesn't sound a lot, but it still feels like a big loss. Graphics for this game look great even on the very low graphic settings. I am able to get good frames that make the game feel smooth, though the smoothness is interrupted with some loading stutterings and whatever stuttering is happening throughout the game. Now when it comes to whether I would prefer to play this game on my desktop PC or on the Steam Deck, it would be no surprise to anyone that I prefer to play this game on my desktop PC. Not only because I am more comfortable playing FPS games on my desktop PC, but mainly because you can't just install and play. It is a lot of extra work just to get the game to run properly. I strongly recommend you wait for the Steam release for Tiny Tina's Wonderland, especially if you plan to play on the Steam Deck. I would expect you to have a lot less issues in general if you had Windows, but for those who plan to stick to Steam OS, I hope this video helps you out. So let me know in the comments down below if you think otherwise or if I missed anything you'd like to see for the next video. If there's a specific game you'd like for me to try out, feel free to leave a suggestion in the comments as well. I'll leave you some gameplay after this outro for you to watch if you just want to see gameplay without commentary. Yeah, so remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, and until then, I will see you all later. Goodbye.
Blood will have...
Ooh, nearby, there's a trophies.
Her coruscating majesty, Queen Stallion, has long protected the Wonderlands with the soul magic she imbues into the land itself. But such a precious role requires guarding as well, as proven by the terrible events of Dragon Keep. And so, the Queen founded a new walled city from which to...
That proud, noble bridge standing before you will provide passage were you to give it a thwack.
You made it! Now get in there and clear the place out! Even if it brings you to the brink of death, leaving you totally vulnerable. Oh God! The look on your face! Extinction event! You'll play the disgusting flesh right off those bones! Inside every hero, don't understand! Am I...
run! Guess all that hard work paid off. Just kidding. Working hard's a fool's game. That one's mine! Don't touch the loot! Devastation inbound! Adorable!
Cleared everyone out. You're still alive, huh? Just better grab that shrine piece. Saves me a trip.
Hark! A shrine piece!
So, this guy's totally gonna try and kill us, right?
That's the last piece of the Shrine of Moolah! Moolah would surely grant you fabuloso wealth if you completed her shrine.
Huh. Didn't see that coming.
Maybe he stabbed himself?
Mysteries like these course in rivers throughout the universe. Anywhoozle, once the shrine is complete, you get the reward all to yourself.